Hello and welcome back to another episode. Now, I've just got back from having lunch with a friend. We just popped to a local pub and had a bit of a chat, and while we were talking, something dawned on me. Basically, we're both into various geeky hobbies, and in particular, computer gaming really came up in our conversation. And during our conversation, it really hit me that the Xbox 360, by many measures, is my favourite console. Now that may sound really fair enough. Lots of people may be going, well, that's fine. Especially if they're a bit younger than me, and other people might be going, what? Really? Because I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but I think lots of people are in a similar situation to me, in so much as the Xbox 360. When I bought it, was really a workhorse. It was a console that I was getting because it could play games. It wasn't motion controlled. It had a HD output, and ultimately, I just wanted a solid gaming platform. And I've never really been a big fan of the feel of the PlayStation controller, so I just gravitated towards the Xbox 360. When I first bought it, actually, I got it on sale from Argos in York, and I actually got the game sort of bundle version for Gears of War 2. So we actually got two games in one disc, Gears of War 1 and 2, and basically it was the Gears of War 2 Xbox 360. I was careful to purchase the one which apparently had the constant red ring of death and eating up discs problem solved, and basically I bought it because I just moved to York. I had a job, but I didn't really, didn't have lots of friends at that point. And I didn't want to just waste lots of money just going out every night, trying just to, find conversations. So I thought, I'm post uni now. I've got a job. What I'll do is I'll get back into some hobbies instead of studying all the time. I'll play some computer games, and so that's kind of where things got going, and like I say, I bought it because it was a console with a good reputation. It was HD output, and I'd had some experience of it with some lads that I've been staying with in York when I very first moved there, before I had a job. So I remember playing football games in particular, maybe Gears of War 1, which I had also actually played in uni as well. Actually, someone I was living with in a house there had an Xbox 360, and it was solid. That was the console which I had experienced. So I thought, well, I know what it is. I'm comfortable with this console. I'll invest. But I never really had a sense of it having, any place in my heart, if so what I mean. The Mega Drive, such an important console for me in so many ways, launched my computer gaming career. The Game Boy, such an important console for me. The N64, the GameCube, I have these really soft spots in my heart for them. But when it comes to the Xbox 360, I know it's kind of weird. It's always just been, as I say, a platform as opposed to a games console. I'm not quite sure what the difference is, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure what the difference is. But in so many measures, it's my favourite console. I've had it now for, approaching a decade, he says, checking the date. We're going on to 10 years. It's been out for, more than a decade as far as I'm aware. I've got far more games for that console than I have for any other console that I own. Approaching 100 titles now. And all of them are brilliant. The gameplay is solid. The controller feels quite good, with the exception of that infamously bad D-pad. The range of activities and games I can experience, for example, through the live arcade is quite good. And they have a range of, for example, as I've recently been talking about, HD collections, for example, Zone of the Enders, Silent Hill 2, Metal Gear Solid. A range of games which are accessible now to me from consoles which I've never touched, such as the PlayStation 2, so on and so forth. And so yeah, the Xbox 360 has sort of snuck up on me as technically my favourite console, and that feels kind of strange. But why does it feel strange? I think it feels strange because I've never really thought of the Xbox 360 as having a personality. If you see what I mean. Every other console that I've owned has had a personality, some sort of definable element to it, which some people found very, I suppose, unappetizing. For example, the GameCube in particular had a very strong personality, not least because lots of people didn't like it, you know. But with the Xbox 360, it's always been a bit bland. And so I've never really thought about it as having a persona, as having a sort of a niche, or having a sort of a unique approach to the gaming market. It's always been a platform, and I think that's what I mean by platform. It's basically a system that plays games. It is essentially a less modifiable PC, and I think that's why I've never really sort of thought, yes, I'm an Xbox 360 man, because I've got nothing against the PlayStation at all, nothing against PlayStation 4 or 3 that's out at the moment. But there's something about the Xbox 360 which sort of engenders kind of neutrality in a funny sort of way. It's kind of like that really, really lovely but ever so slightly boring person at a party. You know, they're completely approachable, completely friendly, actually quite interesting when you get to talk to them, but you just don't quite go over and offer them a drink. And so the Xbox 360 has always been like that for me. But at the same time, now I find that actually it's always been, since I had it, one of my best buddies. Certainly when I first bought it, games like Assassin's Creed, playing that for the first time, courtesy of the Xbox 360, was such an experience, and such the first game in particular, was such a simultaneously intriguing and slightly disappointing prospect, that when Assassin's Creed 2 came out, it was a crescendo in my gaming life, and that was courtesy of the Xbox 360. I've made discoveries such as Dark Sector, I think it's called. A game which I've never really heard about, really, until I saw it going cheap on the Xbox 360. So I picked it up, played it, and it's really quite good. In fact, at some point I'll have to make a gameplay video of it. And maybe that's an element as well that I've really grown to love about this console, is that now, because of this perception that somehow the Xbox 360 is dead and everyone wants the Xbox One, the Xbone, now the games are just dirt cheap, really, really inexpensive. So I can pick up AAA titles for less than a tenner, hopefully less than £5 a pop, and get into experiences such as Zone of the Enders, which otherwise I would have skimmed over because I didn't want to necessarily, I certainly didn't want to buy a whole new console, but I didn't necessarily want to shell out too much for a bit of a gamble, I guess. So the Xbox 360 is also allowing me to gamble, allowing me to take chances on game experiences and discover whole new gaming landscapes which weren't previously open to me. So actually, I think the Xbox 360 is my favourite console. I never thought that would happen. I just never really thought about it that way. My most loved console, if we want to get all technical and specific, would be something like, for example, the Mega Drive, or like, for example, the maybe the original Game Boy, maybe the Game Boy Advance, this kind of thing. But my favourite console, the console which I just play the most in terms of gaming hours, I'm sure by now I must have overtaken lots of the consoles from my childhood, possibly not the Mega Drive yet. It's the Xbox 360. Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange? And I would say there'll be people out there who've always, the Xbox 360 was their first console, and so they had this innate love for it, and then hopefully you'll know what I mean when I'm talking about the Mega Drive. But I think a lot of people are in a very similar scenario to me, where they sort of saw the Xbox 360 as a kind of vanilla modified PC, which allowed them to play computer games relatively conveniently in HD at home. And yet it's become more than just this sort of donkey that's hauling your gaming experience up the next mountain. It's actually become a really well loved, animal, which I won't be sending to the glue factory when it dies. I don't know. I just thought it was worthwhile just marking this revelation, and it has been a revelation, and maybe just inviting you guys to comment as well. I mean, are there any consoles which are similar, which are sort of snuck up on you, either from the previous generation, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, etc., or just in general, the consoles which you've just gone, damn, I really like that console. Wow, but previously you've just been seeing it as a means to an end, if you see what I mean. So I think I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised by this realization, but it's true. It's true. It's probably my favorite console. Anyway, I'm going to stop repeating myself. I just keep on being amazed by that statement. Let me know what you guys think below. Do you agree in terms of the Xbox? Do you think it's been deliberately sort of marketed as being this kind of bland but ultimately very, very useful and ultimately very, very charming eventually console? Let me know what you think. Do comment below, and as ever, whatever you get up to in the next couple of days, do take care. Bye bye.